All right, peasants, we're back with more playoffs action. We have quarterfinals to start now, and this might seem weird, but we're halfway through. We cast 6 series already. There are 7 left, so yeah, halfway point. Happens fast. All right, we'll do Berserk versus Strat game. Probably just one best of 3 for this video. The last video I put out was really freaking long, so yeah, that's that. All right, let's go. Berserk versus Strat game. What do we have here? Dark Elves from Strat versus Berserks. Ogres. That might be the first Ogres I've seen this tournament so far. They've definitely fallen from grace as far as strength of the meta goes. Still a fine faction, they're just not like top tier anymore. You know what? If I'm going to do VM Berserk, I'll throw an NC on Strat. For using clan tags, might as well use them all. Right. What do we got? What do we got, friends? So, for the Dark Elves, we have Dreadspear frontline, Cold One Knights backing them up, Dark Riders, Scourge Chariots, 2 Harpies, including the Crows of Cain, and a Spring Sorceress of Fire with Burning Head to clear out Noblars. For Berserk's Ogres, we have the Sky Striders, Crusher with great weapons, Eshin Maneater, and then Sabertusk Packs, Noblar Flingers, Lead Belcher, Ogre Bulls, and Iron Guts. More Flingers. That's about it. Ogre Paymaster in the front line with Cash Cascade and Gold Glorious Gold. Just buffs to give his boys more melee attack. And then a Beastcaster with Flock of Doom and Pan's Impenetrable Pelt with Maw Shard. You don't usually see Maw Shard because it causes damage to your caster without like a big spell to pair with it, but just using a Maw Shard to cast like 1 Flock of Doom seems really weird. So I wonder what schemes Berserk got up his sleeve. For those of you who don't watch our tournaments regularly, Berserk is kind of a perennial top contender. He's had a couple rough tournaments in a row recently where Sipa's been passing him out pretty handedly. And that's been a little rough. Alfredino still kind of just considered the best in the land battle conquest sphere, because in the big tournaments Alfred shows up and usually does quite well. So yeah, but Berserk's up there. Berserk's a frequent challenger in the end times, so he's very scary. When Sipa getting knocked out earlier in the tournament versus Strat, actually, wow, Strat had a shit bracket. Had to fight Sipa and then Berserk. Okay. Yeah, without having to fight Sipa, Berserk's a pretty scary contender to take the whole tournament, but I guess if you use transitive properties, Strat taking out Sipa makes Strat a favorite for the whole tournament, right? But I don't know. I tend to judge players more of on the long run of their overall history rather than like, you know, Strat beat Sipa one time, so instantly he's going to win this tournament. Oh my fucking god. It's like, no, I'd still generally consider Berserk and Sipa to be the top seeds, and just because Sipa lost doesn't change in my opinion. Now, if Strat beats Sipa over and over and over again, then yeah, of course I'll rate it much higher. But he's also off to a decent start here. Getting some good skirmish. Scourge Chariots doing well against the Lead Belchers. And now getting some damage on Noblar Flingers. Not a good use of their ammunition, unfortunately, on those Flingers, but the Lead Belcher damage is decent. Got rid of another Flinger with a Burning Head, and you're setting up a surround with these Cold One Knights as your Dread Spears try and just push up. And Berserk is really using this rock pillar to try and break up Strat's formation, so he just keeps pivoting around it, and Strat is following him in a counterclockwise, actually no, he's going clockwise fashion, because he wants the entire engagement to happen in one area, whereas Cav can easily support the Dread Spears and no one can get picked off or surrounded, and Berserk just wants to be a nuisance. Lead Belchers and Flingers still trading overall. Scourge Chariots backing off now, realizing they don't want to spend any more ammunition on Flingers accidentally. And fire at will stuff can be weird. Even if you have fire at will off, if you give them orders to shoot past something, if they have to get in range of the Lead Belchers, they'll shoot at the Noblar Flingers while they're driving up, even if they don't have fire at will on. It's really annoying. As these guys play Tootsie footing around this, I can just fast forward because it is a replay, so I'm going to do that quickly. Berserk's running around in a circle while Strat throws out a burning head. Paymaster gets a brief fight, and oh no, the Sky Striders have caught the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. Just gonna have a really hard time getting back to the sky. Frostbite is brutal, but also their mass is large. If they can actually get in front of her and surround her, which it looks like they are sort of doing, but Crushers can be notoriously finicky creature. The Crows of Cain throw themselves into the meat grinder to try and save their lord. As we do have Cold Knights attempting to flank the Lead Belchers, but they themselves get flanked by the Sky Striders. This is just really bad engagements for the Dark Elves. Looks like the frustration of playing Ring Around the Rosie just got to the Dark Elves, and they just wanted a fight somewhere for some reason and committed to one, but it's really not working out. They lost the Cold Knight, they lost the Crows of Cain, they lost a third of the health off their Supreme Sorceress, and now the Cold Knights are also still overcommitting and over-chasing and just getting wrecked. On the other side, there are 2 Sabertusk packs that are getting murdered by the Dark Elves, so they get something in return, but it's not a worthwhile trade at all. It's not an even fight. So Berserk using the map to his advantage very well, using a lot of patience. Because you can see Strat's Dread Spears just haven't been able to participate in this game. They're just spending the entire game running around, and that's where we are now. Murderous Prowess is procced, but none of the infantry happen to be in melee to enjoy any of it. Dark Riders are going to pick off Noblar Flingers. Harpies in the backline can maybe get some more Noblar Flingers if they don't worry about those Ogre Bulls or anything. But the main fights have been going very heavily to the Ogres. We have a nice Flock of Doom upgraded with the Maw Shard, so it's doing a lot of damage to all these Cold One Knights. The Sky Striders are still ripping and tearing through everything like they're the Doom guy in the Gates of Hell. And that's looking like GG to me. I don't see a lot of DPS left for the Dark Elves now that all their Cold One Knights are dead. Their Scourge-on Chariots are almost out of ammunition. We do have Harpies landing on the Lead Belchers, getting a little bit of extra damage out there. Iron Guts are just cleaving through any Dark Riders that challenge them. Dread Spears will have a better time than the Dark Riders, but for now the Dark Riders are taking all the damage. And Ogre Bulls getting buffed up by Pan's Impenetrable Pelt and Cash Cascade, giving them a whopping 4950 for melee stats. That's crazy. 49 melee attack, 50 melee defense. Obviously not 4,950. Get real. Get real. Bounce power is criminally far behind for Strat at this point. And I hate to say I agree. I hate to say I agree. I am also a member of the clan NC, so rooting for my clan mate Strat game. Though Berserk is also always a gentleman. He's always been a very nice guy to me, so you know, I wouldn't hate it if you won, but you always want your clanmates to win. I mean, come on. Come on. Sky Striders still just cleaving through. Berserk at this point waiting for army losses to tap out the Dark Elves. You can see, because like if he was actually like really concerned about anything left on the battlefield, he would be a lot more cagey with his Sky Striders, but he's just been committing them to grind fights, and that just shows he doesn't think there's anything left to threaten him. He's getting a little lazy on his micro, but I think that happens when you're this far ahead in the game. It's just like, well, all right, let's just get damage out and be done with this, right? I also haven't seen any heals yet from the tier 3 army ability of the Ogres. And that's probably, honestly, if you can get that out anytime soon on the Sky Striders, that might be enough balance of power to just end the game. As the Ogre Paymaster and the Butcher chasing down the Supreme Sorceress of Fire, getting decent damage onto her. Sky Striders ride off a bunch more stuff, and there's the army losses Berserk was looking for. So, Ogre's not top tier anymore, but certainly quite deadly when in the right hands and in the right situations. Looking at Strats units, not a lot of them going to pay for themselves. Scourge Runners did the best. Harpies did okay. For Berserk, his Butcher actually got a lot of damage values. There might be something to that. Maw Shard. Flock of Doom. Lead Belchers got decent value. Sky Striders got solid value. And the Sabertusk packs were just sacrificed to Strat. Boom. Berserk up 1-0. Put you back on the bracket. So you don't see if it's a 2-0 or a 2-1. Will we go to game 3? Or will Berserk his way through the bracket? That's not, Berserk isn't a verb like that. You can't use it that way. Shut up. Shut up, nerd. Wood Elves for Strat versus Slanesh. I think it was Sagos in an earlier series we saw use slanesh, and like it just looked a little rough. Okay, so we're going to game 3. Cool, cool. 2 devotees of slanesh with crossbows, 2 of the worst unit in the entire game. Very cool, very nice. Have some Hellstriders, we have some Forsaken, we have a bunch of Devoted Marauders, we have the Pleasure Guard Champion of Slanesh, and the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Shadows, and an Exalted Hero of Slanesh. But none of that matters because you have 2 devotees. This game is already over. GG, Wood Elves win. On the Wood Elf side, we have Eternal Guard, Wild Riders, Dryads, Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips, Wraith's Frozen Heart, Wild Riders, a Spellweaver of Dark with Doombolt. Memes aside, the 2 devotees are here for Durthu, Treekin Blob kind of thing, but not seeing Durthu and Treekin Blob, you now just have 2,200 gold of wasted stats. They're terrible. They're not great units for all the reasons I've complained about on the channel several times, but especially versus the Wood Elves, without Durthu or Treekin, there's no armor for you to armor piercings. Now you have half-assed low weapon strength archers that just aren't going to do enough. Oh, their missile strength isn't even that armor piercing because they suck. Okay, whatever. So they're not wasting armor piercing they don't have. Fine. Berserk's trying to set up an asymmetrical engagement while he's also building up Winds of Magic. He's keeping his Lord and Heroes in the trees, so the Wood Elves can't get free shots on them. The Wood Elves are also building up their Winds of Magic. I think Berserk wants 1 decisive engagement because of Doombolt. He doesn't have the same spells capabilities that the Wood Elves have, so Doombolt is like this constant annoying poke for blobs or expensive single entities. Whereas he has Pit of Shades and Melkoths, and it's probably just going to be more likely that he wants to get 1 big engagement, throw down a couple important Pit of Shades, and win the game, rather than like try and out-kite the Wood Elves or dodge a bunch of Doombolts. Now he is going to try and dodge Doombolt. As I say that, let's see if he's successful. The Slithery Snakes do have 85 speed, slowed down by the Glade Guard. Gets into the trees, but yeah, doesn't dodge it, and he loses about half his HP from that Doombolt, so that's why he was hiding in the trees. Tried to dodge it out, tried to get fancy, but homing Doombolts are pretty damn hard to dodge. Ooh, 2 for 1 Pit of Shades. Very nice cast here from Berserk. There it is. I was worried it wasn't going to cast in time somehow. We do have the Pleasure Guard just charging straight in. They know they're very vulnerable to missile fire, so they're just going to YOLO it into the Wood Elf infantry and hope that some of those infantry bodies will get in the way and make it so they don't take as much damage from the archers. See, they're just teeny tiny little guys. Wild Riders also charge in, but a Melkoth's counter shot on them. Ooh, they're already down to half HP. Hellstriders join the fight as well. And here's the big engagement Berserk wanted. His Hellstriders are also going to look for a way into this back line. Meanwhile, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Shadows and the Exalted Hero just dove onto the nearest archers to disrupt them and stop them from firing. Strat's in a bit of trouble. Bounce power is starting to favor Slanesh already. Can the Wood Elves beat back the first wave here of Slanesh? Because that is really going to be it. There's no second shot at this, so it's like if you survive the initial engagement, you're going to be fine. You're probably going to win the game. We'll see. A lot of damage coming in. Doombolt hits the Exalted Hero of Slanesh. He's already down to about 1/4 HP after both those, and now Wild Riders are going to hit him, so he might be routing soon. Wood Elves still have some healthy melee units here and there scattered about to keep some of the archers safe. Another big Pit of Shades out from Slanesh, though, is another 2 for 1. So when he was wasting time, quote unquote, in the trees at the start, he just didn't want to get sniped by a Doombolt while he built up the Winds of Magic for this. He said he could use Pit of Shades on cooldown rather than waiting for Winds of Magic, because like he can't spend that much time out of the trees, because the next Doombolt's coming for his Lord, and the one after that's going to hit his Lord, and then his Lord's going to be as low as his Exalted Hero, and they're just out of time. So the Pit of Shades have been excellent. The patience has been pretty good, but the Wood Elves are holding stronger than Slanesh would like. We can see the center is collapsing a little bit for the Wood Elves, but the flanks are both holding, and that's a big problem. Devotees of Slanesh, one of them has used over half their ammunition. Got a whopping 700 value for their 1,100 gold prize point. I hate that unit. I think that unit sucks. I think it sucks. Hellstriders barely hanging on to their leadership as they want to chase down the Race of the Frozen Heart and the Glade Guard, but they are not able to. They break and run, meaning those Wood Elves will be able to reform lines and come back later. The Wood Elf front line on the northern flank has actually won. They're now pushing the devotees of Slanesh and the Forsaken back. Bounce power is still 50-50, and here's a big problem for the Wood Elves. Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Shadows has found his way on its Spellweaver of Dark. And his Snake actually has a lot more mass than you'd expect. Strat does pull back some Wild Riders to lock him down to make sure he can't keep following. There's a Doombolt. That is guaranteed going to hit the Lord because he can't dodge like this, but also the friendly fire might be massive, and Strat sees that, backing off his Wild Riders so they don't take as much of the damage as this guy's about to. Bam! Huge damage from the Doombolt. Another one like that, and he's probably dead. Though it was overcast, I saw the overcast in the distance, so that means all three of them have probably been overcast. The Winds of Magic might take a while. In the background, we did have the Exalted Hero of Slanesh rally, accompanied by the last Pleasure Guard that did just die. Exalted Hero is going to rout again. A couple archers rallying here and there and just firing it onto Forsaken, Devoted Marauders, whatever. Strat game and the Wood Elves have taken a significant lead on the balance of power. We can see that the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Slanesh did get wrecked. Really good melee defense, decent armor, but Wood Elf Eternal Guard have relatively high stats because they are elves and they have armor piercing, which I think they're the only cheap spear in the game to get armor piercing. So the Eternal Guard did well, Dryads did well, and they just had enough bodies to withstand Slanesh's first charge, and then everything just kind of broke. For Berserk, his caster actually got 2,300 value, so the Doombolt caster getting half as much as his Lord, but Devoted Marauders really failed him. Forsaken didn't do much either. Devotees together paid for 1.5 of themselves. Hellstriders really struggled too. Champion Slanesh had a hard time. I feel like Hellstriders have just not been it outside of Domination. Because Domination, I get it, right? You can summon a whole bunch of them in a row, they Vanguard deploy, yada yada, all that stuff, all that jazz, great. But in Land Battles and Conquest, when they actually just need to pay for themselves in one life, I feel like they've been having a really hard go, whether I see the Warriors of Chaos take them or Slanesh. I don't know. Okay, on to game 3. Strat 2-0'd Seepa. He takes Berserk to game 3. Very good run for him. Can he finish it off? I actually don't know. I haven't seen any of these games. I haven't seen anything about the tournament so far. I'm as blind as you are. I just know how many series go to third or second games. That I do know because I obviously have the replays, but... All right, last game. Strat is going for the Elf Trifecta with High Elves to finish off. And Berserk is going with tzeentch, though that is Karl Franz. Anybody else see Karl Franz? I do. That was weird. Didn't like that. Oh yeah, you need the scorecard. Stop being a black screen. There you go. What the hell? Kairos looks weird. Kairos's picture is all weird. That's funny. Don't know what that's about, but we do have Kairos Fate Weaver with Blue Fire and tzeentch's Firestorm for Berserk. Then some Marauder Horsemen of tzeentch, the Sour Guts, Marauders, and then Chaos Knights and Centaurs of tzeentch. On the other side, for the High Elves, we have Sea Lord Iceland. Interesting. With the Sapphire Guardian Phoenix spell resist to all allies in range. That could be very good against tzeentch, and gives them magic. Caradrian on his Frostheart Phoenix. Spooky, spooky. 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers, the Fireborn, a bunch of regular Archers, and then we do have a Mage of Life with just Earthblood and a front line of Ship's Company. So Strat hoping that 2 DLC single entities can carry the game for him, while Berserk relies on some tried and true tzeentch Kite. Though, as I did say with the Flower game in a different video, I feel like tzeentch Kite has been significantly nerfed. Blue Fire has seen better days, and I don't miss those better days. But Blue Fire's seen some better days. Soul Grinders have been nerfed, and you can see Berserk didn't even bother bringing one. So, yeah, he's trying to use his Marauder Horseman's barriers to block a lot of the actual incoming damage, but still fulfill the attacking rules while Kairos chuckles and runs around casting Blue Fires whenever possible. So he is just going to try and delay this for as long as he can, cast as many spells as he can, and build up army abilities while also dealing damage. It's pretty fucked up, but that's tzeentch. If you don't like it, blame CA for some reason designing them that way. All right. Archers, however, getting good shots onto the Sour Guts. Sour Guts have run out of barriers, so anything after that is going to be actual damage. And you see the Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch are also starting to take real damage, because barriers are nice, but they can't withstand that much damage. Meanwhile, Kairos nets the Illyrian Reaver Archers before casting his Tzeentch's Firestorm on them, so they're about to take bunches of damage. They are just a 550 gold skirmish cab. No, they're 600 gold. 600 gold skirmish cab. Still a good pick. Still a good pick, but not the end of the world for the High Elves. And actually, the Centaurs of Tzeentch running into the Firestorm, taking a lot of damage and a rare micro mistake from Berserk, so he's gonna want that one back. The Centaurs are now getting slowed by Caradrian, Frostfire slowing them down, and then the Illyrian Reaver Archers charge in as well to get free damage on them. And if they turn around, they then have to deal with Sea Lord Iceland and Caradrian's ounce. So pretty big pick here for the High Elves, honestly, and then the Illyrian Reavers peel off. They want to go get some of this skirmish cav and force he wants to get any damage he can onto the skirmish cavalry to stop Tzeentch from being able to delay the early game and just get to the melee part where the High Elves really want this to be. I don't know if I agree, though. The Illyrian Reavers could have been chasing the Centaurs of Tzeentch that just terror routed, but they peeled off to get a little damage on the Marauder Horsemen. Maybe Strat's more worried about his guys getting flanked by the skirmish cav, and he's valuing his own skirmish cav more than getting some damage on the Centaurs. I could see that. I could see that if that's his reasoning. Fair. Not all chases are without a cost. As Berserk continues to kite around, starting to rotate his forces down, but still doesn't want to fully take an engagement yet as Caradrian tries to chase down Kairos. And he did get his double slow on him. He got the Blizzard Aura. He didn't get his melee slow down, but he does decide to back off. Doesn't want to spend too much time in front of the skirmish cav. And for Berserk, skirmishing is great, and it's buying him time to cast spells and whatnot, but he is also, tier 2 armor ability coming through with Mage of Life. Decent little poke of damage. She has a Mage of Life, though, so she can just Earthblood it back. Anyway, his ammo is getting used, so this can't last forever. 2 of his Marauder Horsemen are down to half ammunition. One's missing about a quarter, and the other one's still full. Another Gaze of Fate is down, this one onto the Fireborn, and then we have another Tzeentch's Firestorm onto them. They do have fire resistance. Don't know if that matters against this spell. Still gonna do good damage. Ooh, and Illyrian Reavers are trying to path back through it because they're trying to dodge the skirmish cav fire, but they end up walking straight into a firestorm. So really good usage of that early spell from Kairos. How much damage value does he have? He already has 1400. Wow, pretty good. Everybody's falling back to go back to the Earthblood lady because she wants to cast Earthbloods, but she also wants to be in the circle so she can get a little bit of health back. As you can see, Kairos is trying to poke her down to half HP, and she actually did cast it without herself being in the circle, which if Kairos can get another Bolt of Change on her and another blue fire, that'll probably rout her, and then the High Elves would be without healing, which would be pretty brutal. So we'll see if that comes back to bite her, not being a little more greedy with those heals on herself. Centaurs of Tzeentch did penetrate the back line. They caught some archers in the rotation, and this is kind of back to game 1. It looked like in game 2, when Berserk took that Slanesh fight versus the Wood Elves, when he took an honest engagement, just like straight 1v1, he sat in the forest for a little bit to charge up Winds of Magic while he was rotating, but like the overall game plan was to challenge Strat and melee. It didn't go well for him, and he realized that in game 1, and I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just providing analysis. I like Strat. Strat's a great guy. He's been an amazing patron for the channel, so I'm not trying to just dig on him for no reason. But like, I think he did notice that Strat had a weakness in game 1. When the Ogres were rotating all the time and just not taking a straight engagement, Strat either got distracted or frustrated or impatient or made a mistake. Whatever it was, his engagements weren't nearly as clean in game 1 as they were in game 2. Game 2, he had a great game plan, and he stuck with it all the way through. And it seems like Berserk tunneled in on that, and game 3 is doing the same thing, because now he's taking an engagement, but it's after Strat's gotten frustrated, because you can see Centaur's got into his backline, which he normally wouldn't let happen. He didn't let it happen in the Wood Elf game. The Fireborn kind of were AFK for a second. Chaos Knights of Tzeentch take a fight with them now, but it is not going well for the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. The Fireborn are way better, but like, it's just the game plan is fucked, right? The game plan's fucked. We have Ship's Company standing around doing nothing because Strat's just getting pulled all over the map. But unlike game 1, it's not a stomp because the Crushers event didn't happen. Strat's frustrated, sure, but he hasn't made a big mistake yet. It's just some small little errors of like units standing around or not doing anything, but like the Cold One Knights didn't run in front of the Crushers this time. So the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch engaged the Fireborn. Fireborn still kicked their ass because of the Fireborn. Caradrian and Sea Lord Iceland are still very healthy, and they're getting a lot of damage back onto Tzeentch. Tzeentch is collapsing in nicely though. shutting down a lot of the archers, pushing them back. And now this, unlike Flower's game earlier in the tournament that we were talking about, now if tzeentch gets into a late game and they want to pull back and kite, they've eliminated a lot of the threat. The Illyrian Reavers are all toast. The archers are all toast. So if you disengage at any point from this juncture, all the high elves have left is melee stuff, and then you can actually effectively kite. Where last time Flower was trying to disengage, and it's like, yeah, but your Soul Grinder's already pretty fucked, and one Shem's Burning Gaze is going to take it out. Your blue horrors are already taking a lot of damage, so yeah. Caradrian, the focus of this blue fire of tzeentch, gets some decent damage out, and that Mage of Life is routing. Can tzeentch run her down? With Caradrian and the Sea Lord right here, that might actually be bad for them to try and chase her, because she is a foot character, which can be notoriously hard to actually kill, and this is less squirmy, right? If they actually take an honest fight, Strat will just show up with Sea Lord Iceland or Caradrian and beat their ass. Breath attack down from the Sea Lord onto some Forsaken, getting some decent damage out there. Bounce power is roughly 50-50. I would rather be Berserk right now, but it is a concern that has to be addressed. How is he going to kill Caradrian and Sea Lord, especially if they bail out the Life Caster, which it looks like the Sea Lord is heading over to do now. Again, the Chaos Knights take a charge. Again, they get 10 damage on her before knocking her over, and they just have to awkwardly stand around. But now there's a dragon landing on their heads, so they need to leave, and they will allow her to rally most likely, unless this blue fire takes her out. Who is it aimed at? It's aimed at Caradrian. Getting good damage onto that Phoenix Guard. Not a bad target. Not a bad target. We either need a Doom Bolt or another blue fire, though, to kill the Mage of Life, because she is back. Strat might need to pull some forces back to protect her. Instead, she just casts a quick Earthblood onto Caradrian and the Sea Lord. Maybe he has given up on trying to bail her out at this point and is instead going to keep trying to take fights with the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. They are slowed by the Blizzard Aura, and they're charged by the Fireborn on the sides. And Caradrian just needs to get one hit on them to apply that extra slow and make them really, really, really sluggy. Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch pulling up. Bounce power still 50-50. High Elves still mostly relying on these two healthy single entities. They have lost their mage. They have a couple Shim's Company to fight with. But what does Tzeentch have to kill these big single entities? The Sour Guts are nearly spent. Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch are out of ammunition for the most part. Then you have some basic infantry and a half-health Kairos, who's just been spamming blue fires, but I wonder how much of his Winds of Magic are left. I haven't seen him using a lot of tier 1 army abilities of Tzeentch. Yeah, it's Strat even breath attacks the Sour Guts. He just wants to get rid of any ammunition units. I have seen him using a lot of Doom Bolts. I haven't seen him using a lot of Arcane Surges, the tier 1 army ability of Tzeentch, to get extra Winds of Magic. So I don't know. He's gonna have less of Kairos' usual infinite Winds of Magic nonsense. Arcane Surge is cast now. The Kairos is a really bad melee combatant. So if it comes down to him as like trying to kill Caradrian or Aisling, it's not gonna be great. Caradrian does not have his Mortis Engine effect, so he can't hope to just get poked low and then drain everything down. He actually is getting really low on leadership too, as another nasty blue fire hits him in the back of the head. Kairos is coming over to say hi to Caradrian as the Sea Lord heads towards his Fireborn and Ship's Company. We do have archers on the high ground firing down for now. Kairos takes a fight with Caradrian. I think he was just trying to get a charge attack off. Maybe that would get him through, but his barriers are taking a lot of damage. He's actually taking a lot of damage. He needs to back off. Yeah, Oracle of Eternity is popped, and I don't blame him. That was a pretty nasty shot. They're not taking the bait, though. They can see Kairos is slippery and trying to lure them into some sort of trap with his 44% damage resist. So they just instead get a rear charge onto the Centaurs, get a really good breath attack angle onto some of the infantry, though a beautiful rear charge in from Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch. Almost takes out the Ship's Company, but actually Sea Lord gonna dive in. He is gonna keep those Ship's Company fighting. Still, we have archers on the high ground firing. I don't know if Berserk knows they're there or if he just doesn't care, but he could run some Marauder Horsemen over there quick and deal with those. Marauder Horsemen firing their last couple of volleys into Caradrian. 1,000 HP left for him. 8,000 on the Star Dragon. Aisling's rocking. Centaurs charge back into the Ship's Company. So do the Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch with Kairos for terror. Yeah, Kairos just wanted to provide terror there. Takes out the Ship's Company, leaving the two high elf single entities on their own. Archer's still firing. It looks like Berserk maybe has taken note of them now and is going to run up and deal with those guys once and for all. Terror Out's coming off the Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch. It is down to the wire, though, because we're running out of gusto here for Tzeentch. We're running out of meat. We're running out of flesh. Kairos gets knocked down by the Star Dragon. It's always been pretty dumb that he can get knocked down. Like, he gets all the benefits of being a foot character while also having more mass than anything I've ever seen in my life. But he's taking a lot of damage. Caradrian's also trying to dive down behind him. Thinks better of it. Decides to stay in the air. There he goes. Dives in like a bird of prey, getting a little bit of damage onto Kairos. And then does the awkward bird waddle instead of getting real attacks off. For tzeentch, a bunch of very depleted units. We do have a healthy regular Marauder, a relatively healthy Marauder Horseman of tzeentch, and then a bunch of stuff that's at a half health or lower. Caradrian gets charged yet again, down to 750 HP. Aislin's still at 7,400. Kairos is going to get back up in the sky, regenerate some berries. I haven't seen a blue fire out of him for a while. He might be running on empty. Wins a magic wise. Caradrian routes, leaving just the Star Dragon, the new DLC Lord. Can he carry with his spell resistance and magic attacks? Maybe. Kairos comes in. Kairos stuns him quick with a little jab to the side of the head with his cane. And the Sea Lord is unable to peel for Caradrian, so Caradrian is going to get run off by those Marauder Horsemen of tzeentch. And honestly, yeah, besides Marauders, it's good to get attacks onto Cavalry and ignore Kairos, but once you get down to just Marauders, you're going to have to hit Kairos and hope for the best. But he doesn't want to be fooled into, yeah, the Oracle of Eternity's up, 44% damage resistance. You wanted to get consistent damage on those Centaurs, get rid of them. Since trying to stop Kairos from getting back into the sky is unsuccessful, though. Kairos is about to take off any second now. Caradrian goes off the map. Bounce power turns against the High Elves. Only 5,000 HP left on Sea Lord Aislinn. He dives back in onto Kairos Fate Weaver. Gets a couple good shots on him. This is getting concerning. And Caradrian came back. Caradrian rallied in the distance. He can maybe save his leadership by diving on those Marauder Horsemen, getting the charge bonus. Kairos takes a bunch of damage, but does get out of there. And do we have the next round of terror outs? These guys should be immune to terror outs for a little bit because they, you know, for a little bit after it happens to you, you can't happen again, but soon it will be able to occur. More ships company come to back up the Sea Lord. Caradrian is charging back to the fray. We do see some of the white flags appearing above tzeentch's army. Kairos is just above 2,000 HP. Aislinn down to 4,000. It is a slow grind. Neither side has really good combatants left. I mean, yes, this is a Star Dragon, but he's not great at killing a bunch of Marauders just sitting and fist fighting. As you can see, he's lost 600 health since we last checked in on him. Caradrian's trying to show up. He does have attack orders directly onto Kairos. Both have 77 speed, but Kairos is stuck on the ground. Yeah, he needs to get back in the sky for his real speed. If Caradrian gets in range, his slow aura will let him catch up, but I don't know if he has good attack animations when he's in the air, so he might not be able to get anything done there. Meanwhile, Aislinn's just continuing to get whittled down by all this stuff. I wonder how much damage all these Marauders have. Only 400. Yeah, he falls below 3,000 HP. Caradrian's back. Here comes the Terror route. Forsaken or ITP, so they're not going anywhere. Kairos is slowed. Caradrian's in. Caradrian does get a good charge attack off, actually. Knocks off the berries that Kairos just got. That's about it, though. Didn't get past the berries too much. And he's now being cautious about landing as the ship's company are trying to come back into the fight. Caradrian wants to stay in the sky and apply his debuff to everything underneath him and try and help Aislinn out. Wait, why isn't his buff going off? Affected in range, yeah. These guys should be, there we go. They're all marked, it's fine. So it reduces their melee attack and their weapon strength. Kairos is still just trying to troll around and be a nuisance whenever he can. The Sea Lord charges straight through some Marauder Horsemen. Bounce power is getting critically bad for High Elves, but like 2 more real good attacks onto Kairos could turn this whole game around. If they cause his demonic instability, then the leadership of all these guys falls and it could be over. Caradrian takes big damage. He has to turn around and fight Kairos. He was trying to kite away, but now his leadership depends on him not being hit in the back. So he needs to turn and fight, and he does. Takes out Kairos' shields once again, gets him very low. just around the 2,000 points, 1,600, 1,200. Aisling attacked from the ground somehow. That's a bug that's been in the game for a long time, but Aisling, since he's a unit that can fly, the game will sometimes let him act like he is flying. 800 HP on Kairos, very low. Caradrian dives in. He needs to get a hit off. He misses the first attack on Kairos, but he gets the next one. 400 HP. Kairos is so low. His leadership is just fine. 1,600 HP on Aisling. He's getting whittled down, but if he can finish off Kairos, or if the demonic instability or something takes out that bird, he can totally win this game, but he does not. Kairos clings to life. His leadership is fine, and Aisling is left all alone. Army losses kicks in, and it was down to the wire. Berserk will advance with Karl Kairos Franz, the Majestic. 3,300 on the Sea Lord Dragon, 1,100 on Caradrian. Very good technical game from both these players. Like we were talking about in the mid game, Strat definitely has a harder time when the game gets more chaotic and silly. But he kept his composure a lot better than game one and dragged this to a very, very close finish. So good job there. And then game two obviously was very good. So great representation of Strat. Really sucks for him. He had to fight Sipa and then Berserk. Those are two tournament favorites, and he had to deal with them back to back. And honestly, had a good showing for himself. So I hope he's feeling proud. I mean, obviously he'd want the win. Who wouldn't want to win? But it's pretty good showing. All right, so I can get rid of this one. 2-1. And that's going to be the video for today. We'll keep casting the rest, so keep an eye on the channel. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.